live editing with you guys right now on the fly. Editing Tuesday. Good looking out, Steven. Hey, can you pull this up on your phone? I want to make sure I can get comments and questions. Steven's going to pull this up on his feed. We're going to jump right in. There's no time for dilly-dallying. Thanks, you guys, for joining us. We're going to hop into the intro video. Bow, wow, bow. Awesome. You guys, we're on episode 45. Super excited about this. The way this works, Six Figure Live, it's just like every single day, dude, Monday through Friday, I come to you guys live. I do in the afternoon. I aim for 1. It never is perfectly right at 1 because there's always, I'm not just like an educator. I don't make a ton of money doing this. I am a photographer. And so we're still running a studio here. And so when I've got phone calls to answer, brides to meet with, premiere dates to do, presentations, albums to build, I don't always get to it right then. So I apologize. The best thing that you guys can do is to make sure that you go to the notification box and you can make sure to get updates, get notified when we go live. So that way it hits your phone and you guys can watch along live. Otherwise, you get the episodes. If you're just joining, by the way, there's 44 other, I think, really kick-ass episodes for you guys to take a look at. And so the entire purpose is for me to give you guys a very candid behind-the-scenes glimpse at what we do. I'm editing today, and it worked out really well because every single Tuesday I do some live editing with you guys, and that's what's going to happen today. So I showed you guys in episode 44 some images that I had taken, and I'm super excited about them, and so I'm going to show you guys how I went about editing them, taking a look at just a couple of them here, and maybe we'll open up another catalog, but this is super fresh. These are pictures that I just took yesterday. So let's dive in. Do you got your phone, man? Can I see? I want to make sure I want to see who's here. Oh, yeah. He's on it, Steven. You got this. And other cool news, I like to keep you guys up to date with things. Ben Adams had 3 meetings yesterday, 2 in-person meetings and 1 meeting over the phone. He booked 2 of the 3 on the spot. I want you to guess which ones he booked. He booked the ones that were in person. Not to say the last one won't, but that's exciting for us. We still get super, super stoked, super excited when we book clients. I had 2 phone calls today. I called 2 brides. This is, you guys, pay attention to this. This bride had contacted us on Sunday. Okay, so Sunday went by. I just candidly, I do not answer emails and phone calls on Sundays. I spend time with my baby girl and my beautiful wife. And so Sunday she called. Monday happened, and you know how it goes. We came into a Monday after shooting a wedding, and just like the whole storm of events, we didn't get to calling her back. And so Tuesday came, and that's today. I called her, and she's like, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm super bummed, but I value photography that much that I reached out to you and one other photographer who I really liked, and between the 2 of you, he got back faster, and they hired them. And so snooze you lose. In this case, it was me. So damn it, I lost a client because of that. You guys, brides are looking to make decisions oftentimes very quickly. When you let things go in this situation for 2 days, you're going to miss out. And so it's a humbling experience, but I want to tell you guys about that because timeliness matters. Okay, cool. Ben Adams is here. Nate Cooper's here. There's 2 others of you out there watching. I see that little 4 icon. Who are you? I'd love to hear who's out there watching today. And as you guys are chiming in, throw me some thumbs up or whatever's down there, some hearts. What else can you guys throw me? You can throw me, angry faces. Don't do that. All right, let's jump in and start editing. So check out these pics. We got some really tight pics here for you guys. This was a quick little shoot that I did. I'm not going to actually get into the whole story because I don't want to right now. It's a big story. But Adam says, excited for my date. Oh, dude, yeah. So just so you guys know, I need to be held accountable here. Whenever my crew, whenever any of us books a wedding, we celebrate our wins, right? You guys need to celebrate your wins. We celebrate our wins by a date a date night. We're all married here, by the way, all three of our head photographers. And so if you book a wedding, you get a date night with your wife on Style and Story Creative. And so Ben Adams, I owe you 2 dates with your girl. Fair enough, my man. Good work, kid. All right, let's take a look at editing this shot. So this was a shot. I shot this. Let's take a look at the EXIF data here for starters, because I want you guys to see this. 35 freaking millimeter all the way. I love using 35 and getting tight into the action. I could have stayed out of the water. I could have shot with this at 50, 85, 7200. I wanted to get into that space, get in close with them and capture the energy and the emotion and the love here. And so Leslie Hartley's watching. What's up? Hey, Mike, how's it going, man? And so stepped into the water with them, and it was dicey. It's like slippery rocks, and all I could think about in the back of my mind was there's amazing memories out there, and the potential risk is an insurance claim, and it was well worth the risk. And so so here we go. So 35, I shot at f2, ISO 1000, 2500th of a second. I could have sure jacked my shutter speed up even higher and my ISO down, but it doesn't matter. It all resolves the same. And so here we go. I'm going to be using the Style and Story Creative Paint Kit. This is the presets that we've developed as a studio, and I swear every time I use them, every time Steven or Ben use them, we just we click a couple buttons and we're like, damn, these are so good. And I'm going to show you guys live us using them. And so here's a couple things that I would do. I'm going to start with a base coat here. Base coat's going to apply some color grade to it, and we're nowhere near being done. And then I'm going to go to a top coat, and it's going to really start to punch in some more contrast and some vibrancy into those colors. Not actually using vibrancy. You'll notice the vibrancy is at -8 and -7. Then from here, something I do like to mess around with is just seeing what the auto white balance does. I click it, and it kind of made them a little too red, so maybe I'll stay away from it. But it did. Sometimes it's helpful because it's hard for your eyes to see certain colors unless you contrast it with another thing. And so when I click this, I go a little too magenta, but when I take it away, I can see I'm too green here. And so it just lets me know I should probably give this just a hint of magenta. I'm going to start just pulling my exposure up here is all I'm going to do, just a hair. And so I'm a huge fan, you guys, of contrast and punch, especially with an emotional shot like this. This shot has so much like energy and joy. I want it to have this punch. I want the blacks to go, and I want the whites to come out. I want these skin tones to pop. Let's see what's in this sky. All I mean by that is I bet there's some data here. And so I'm just going to start scrubbing a brush over there, and I'm going to start bringing the highlights down and seeing, maybe I can pull the exposure on a little bit, seeing what kind of data is up there. It looks like there's some blue and there's some color here. So I'm going to brush this in. But then you guys, I'm not going to be lazy, and you listening right now, don't be lazy either. Once you brush in and you start brushing over people, go ahead and erase back out where your brush got to, where it shouldn't. If you want to see where that's at, you can hover over this tool right here, and it's going to show you, yo, Ben, you got paint on my forehead. And so I can just click on that and I can just erase that out. Alternatively, you can also click this little icon down here, and it can just stay up while I go ahead and I erase it off beautiful Sarah's forehead. I might as well erase it off of beautiful Chris's forehead too. Okay, cool. So, yeah, there's some information there. I like that. I like seeing, I think I can go on and off here. So I don't want to see the entire sky completely blown out. I like that now we have a little bit more gray. You guys, your eyes are drawn to usually the brightest part of a given scene. This is exception. There's always exceptions to rules. Silhouettes, obviously. And so anytime I can kind of knock these whites down a little bit to draw your eye back to what's most interesting, which is them, the better. I just opened up a random gradient and I put it on them, and the gradient was already started at clarity at plus 100. That was the last gradient apparently I used, so that's not actually what I'm encouraging. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a gradient over the couple here, and I'm going to just pull up maybe the exposure just a touch. I just did 0.10, okay? And again, it's because that's where your eye is drawn to, the most interesting part of the scene. I'm going to now go ahead and grab a brush. I love this water, and I love the detail in it. It's so like crispy and so good. We're going to pull the feather down a little bit, and now I'm going to actually brush in some clarity, not 100. By the way, rarely are things ever like jacked up to 100 and like all that kind of stuff. But I'm just going to pull up this clarity here and really make this kind of water pop a bit. I think that's pretty hot. I love that. Now let's go in and we can just do a little bit of skin retouching here. And so I could grab a little spot removal tool and, you know, we could start to clean these people up. They're a really gorgeous couple. And I think, again, I want my images to show humanity. I want flaws to show through. I just want people to be people because people are freaking beautiful. And so we could do some of this. There's a couple of things though that I want to show you guys to look out for. One is the vein. All people have this, especially it comes out when we're showing emotion, when we're really excited or sad or scared. We all have a vein in the middle of our foreheads. And so just take a look at that. And the next is, you know, this is a mole, and so that's okay. I think moles are rad too. So don't take away moles. This would be my advice at least. But if you want to, you can just go and do the heal tool, but then remove the opacity a little bit, just so it knocks it back a little bit. And it's not so, you know, maybe like present. Is kind of a nice option to do in regards to characteristics that are of people, just depending on what you want to do with them. So I love this shot. I'm super stoked about it. So here's before, here's after. I love the pop with our presets. I think it's pretty tight. Let's take a look at another one that is kind of fun. Let me create a virtual copy for you guys here. I'm going to reset this hog, and let's just do it. Let's do it from the beginning. So this is another scene from the day. This is after they were done. And I want you guys to get inside my head here a little bit. As we're editing images, I also want you to understand what I'm thinking about as I'm shooting. And so I got in tight, I shot that. And then I wanted to kind of like step back and set the scene. I was kind of picturing this as an entire story. And so they had to walk all the way down these rocks. It's this huge cliff of rocks to go down. And so I ran, I like booked it all the way back up to the top with my 35 millimeter still on hand. Same settings, relatively. It looks like the sun came out a little bit more because I'm at 1/8,000th of a second. And just wanted to see a different view. And so let's go ahead and edit this hog. Immediately right off the bat, the things that irk me as a photographer is when like horizon lines aren't like perfect. I just dragged this down to see if these rocks would fall along this line, and they do. But I don't like this horizon line back here. And so I'm just going to pull that down, and then I'm going to want to keep my couple centered. I love the symmetry that's here. And so we're just going to pull in a hair on them. Let's see if I can get a little bit more space. Pulling a hair on them. I dig that. Okay, cool. So now back to my presets here. StyleShare Creative Paint Kit. We're going to go base coat. We're going to go top coat. When you go base coat, top coat, a lot of times you're going to start to kind of underexpose some things. And so usually then the exposure will go up with it. Okay, do you remember what I was talking about in regards to where your eyes go? Let's address that. Right now we've got this really dark area and we've got a really light area. So light water, dark rocks, and the couple's kind of lost in the middle. Again, this is an image for like the story. And so when you see this in conjunction with all the others, it makes a lot of sense to actually deliver to the client. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab a gradient here. And we're going to pull this across the water. I'm not going to do clarity plus 100. I'm actually going to be dragging down the highlights a little bit on this because I want to be drawing attention to the capelle, not necessarily the water. So drag down the highlights a little bit, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to pull up. Let's pull up some of the exposure in the middle of the scene. So I'm going to bring my feather up on this, and I'm just going to start to brush in here a little bit. And as I do this, I'm going to now start to erase back out. So I'm going to grab my eraser, put my flow on 50%, my feather pie, and I'm just going to start to kind of like feather out. I'm erasing out some of my brush work here that I did. Start pulling some attention back to the couple there. Okay. Now we could grab another little gradient doodad here, drop it right on these buttes, and let's pull the shadows up a bit maybe. And like the exposure, just the tiniest little bit. And again, don't get lazy. Don't leave halos on people, you guys. I can see that every time. So just brush out a little bit around the halo. Okay, cool. Actually, I just erased. Yeah, here we go. Brush it out. Walk it out. Okay, cool. So now let me show you guys kind of before and after here. So this is before and after, and hopefully you can see everything's kind of a neutral gray here. And afterwards, your eyes start to go to them because they're going to be lighter, and we're going to start getting knocked back in darkness here. If we wanted to, we could even push this water back even a little bit further. I'm going to start a little bit heavier handed, and then we can always adjust. All right. And so there we go. We could try even something like that. So before, after. I dig that. I think this is an interesting shot. One more thing that we could probably do is, because of all the detail here, I think this is a shot we can get away with globally increasing clarity. Globally increasing clarity isn't something I do a ton of, but in this type of scene, it works. It works to pull all this detail up out of the rocks and to add the detail in the waves and to bring attention to the couple right there. So I'm a fan of that. Let's do one more for your viewing pleasure. Let's do one maybe from when it was like, let's do this one maybe. This is kind of fun. Okay, so this is a fun one. I'm gonna go ahead and just create a virtual copy and completely reset it. So this is fun because the light, it was so challenging. Okay, not only was the light challenging, the exposure was challenging. Check out this scene. This is in camera, 50mm f2 ISO 100, 1/6400th of a second. Like, look at this shenanigans. This is some BS right here. This is a really, I mean, this is a pretty rough shot to go ahead and edit. And so one of the tricky things about this is it was sunrise and the sun was just peeking up. And so it's super dark and it's super orange because we had this great bright orange light. And so we're going to start it like every other image that I've ever edited. Base coat, top coat, and we're going to start to pull up the exposure. Okay. Now, as we do this, they're just going to get so orange and it's so clipped and black. This is going to need some special love. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's see what auto white balance does. Usually it's going to make everything crazy blue to correlate to them. It didn't really do much. I'm just going to undo that. We're going to start to pull our shadows up a bit. And now because of this orange, we're going to bring our blues down. Cool this image off a little, get some green in there. We're going to keep bringing our exposure up a hair. We're starting to get into some weird areas of the shadows. What I mean is when the shadows get pulled too high, here's an extreme example, you get weirdness. You get this weird color grain and color saturation and just like people start looking like aliens. And so I would much rather see the exposure go up globally and our shadows come back down to remove that weirdness that's happening, okay? It's super weird. Let's pull our blacks back up. Okay, so we're starting to get somewhere. Their skin, though, is still like, it's still a little crazy. Now, again, the skin will be relatively, I mean, it's going to be orange because it was orange light, you know, like it just is what it is. So I'm going to leave this right here and I'm going to hop into the HSL panel. As I'm in the HSL panel, there's a couple quick tips I want to show you guys. By the way, this is all the shenanigans that the paint kit does. There's this little target practice thing here, right? Targets. So I can grab this target and I can click on an area and it will just solely isolate those colors from the area that you sample, okay? So that, for example, that was his blue right there. So I'm going to take the skin tones and I'm going to start to, if I were to pull it way down, it's going to go super pink, right? Well, their skin tones are maybe a little too red, so I might pull it up just a hair towards that orange. It's starting to look a little bit better. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my saturation. I'm going to come down and maybe pull the saturation down just a touch. Okay, we're starting to like normalize their skin just a little bit. And now that I've normalized it, I could probably go back up and now globally warm the image up a little bit since I've pulled off some of that warmth from their skin. So just like a touch there. So we've gone from here to here, right? It's definitely becoming acceptable. I'm starting to actually like what's happening here. And then, you know, from here, I'm trying to think if there's much else I would do. I actually am a fan. If I wanted to, some of this blue back here in the water, maybe it's a little too blue. It's kind of bugging me a little, so I can go back here again and I can grab this HSL and I can take this blue and start to move it, you know, a little bit more less teal, a little bit less teal, that's the word, just do a little bit more of a violet of a blue. So cool. Before, after, I'm happy with that. I'm stoked about that. If you want to, in the Style Story Creative Paint Kit, I could also do a light noise removal because we have pushed it pretty far in the exposure. The grain, it's not bad. I'm sorry, not grain. The noise is not bad. So I accept you, image. So here we go. So before, after, that was a tricky one, you guys. Tricky lighting conditions. The HSL panel should not be a stranger to you. Use these targets. Use them well. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to keep editing. I got a lot of work to do. So tomorrow is critique day. All right. I want to critique images. I want to critique images with you guys, for you guys, as a service to you. So if you have images that you want critiqued, please drop them in. I'm going to leave a link to you in the comments for you to drop in images. The goal of this is just to continue to improve, to continue to get better. Send me your best work. Send me your worst work. I don't care. I want to give back to you guys in any way that I can. And so we're going to be doing some live critique tomorrow. We'll see how many images we get through. But I'm really excited about it. Maybe I'll get in. Steve, you want to critique with me?
Sure.
Do you want? Okay, tomorrow. You're in tomorrow, right? You in?
Yes.
Do you have meetings?
No.
Okay. No meetings for Steven. That means he's going to be critiquing work with me for you guys tomorrow. I have a meeting tomorrow? Apparently. Oh, shoot, I do. Okay, we'll see. It'll all be good. We'll get to you guys. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate everything that you do for us. Actually, on that note, too, there was someone, I saw the email, it just came in. There was someone who just they wanted to give back as a thank you to me, and they went and they bought our presets, and they bought I forget, some other little $7 thing or something, just as ways of thanks. And so I'm thanking you for thanking me. So I guess that's it. It's super cool of you. I'll find out your name and then I'll send you a message. So, bye everybody.